This was sometime back in January 2017, last year. I was invited for a meeting with the CEO and his senior leadership team. The CEO was telling me, my guys, they're not energized enough. They're not having fun. They're making too many mistakes. Just a background, they're from the F&B space. So I asked them a lot more questions. And then I threw one question at the CEO. I asked him, what is the one issue that you like to solve today? And he said, customer complaints. I like to see our customer complaints come down. I said, okay. So what are we doing about it now? So he turned around to the head of operations, who was a young, petite, but stern-looking lady, to give me the answer. And she said, we have come up with a 100-point system. If someone makes a mistake, we'll drop their points and we'll give them a telling off. And if they persist, we'll drop some more points and give them a warning letter. And if that persists, we'll fire them. Exactly. I looked at the CEO and his team and I said, whatever you do, don't do that. Yep, it's my first meeting and I was telling them what not to do. But that begs a question. Why is it that most leaders or organizations tend to use a carrot and stick way of controlling and motivating their staff? To understand that answer, we need to go back about 100 years when Frederick Winslow Taylor walked into factories with a stopwatch and a clipboard just to observe how the workers were performing. Frederick Winslow Taylor was an engineer by profession. It's considered to be the first management consultant. And he wrote a book called Principles of Scientific Management. And in his book, he stated very clearly that we need to enforce. We need to enforce behaviors, we need to enforce processes. And the person who's responsible for enforcing are the managers. He's even said, people cannot be trusted to do the right thing. He even said, perhaps companies are better off employing people who are stupid, so they will not ask too many questions. Yeah. And he suggested, if you want to ensure that people produce more, incentivize them. And if you want to make sure they make less mistakes, punish them. Carrot and sticks. You see, Frederick Winslow Taylor saw people as a number, as a digit, as a head count. Is there a better way to lead people? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Instead of being a head count leader, let us be a heart count leader. And how can we be a heart count leader? By first recognizing that we are one. We are one. How many of us here would love to contribute your efforts to a meaningful purpose? Here. How many of us here believe that you can be better than who you are today? Thank you. And how many of us here have faced challenges before? Did you notice something when I was asking these questions? All your hands went up. We are one. Can you turn to the person on your left and right and tell each other, we are one? Exactly. We are one. O-N-E. One. O, a oneness environment. I learned about the oneness environment from a secretary. Yes, a secretary. I was having coffee with Sally, and this is her story. Sally was a secretary to a chief economist in a stockbroking firm. Now, this stockbroking firm only looked after institutional clients. And this chief economist was looking after a team of junior economists and research assistants. So it was in one of their off-site meetings when the junior economist raised a crucial issue. Bit of background, on a monthly basis, this team produces many reports from macroeconomics to microeconomics to trends in industry and countries. And sometimes they got an email from their clients asking for a report that was dated months ago. And these economists would have to go and look for those reports and send it back to the clients. So they found it very time-consuming and arduous. So this group of brilliant minds talked about a problem, but they didn't have a solution. But lo and behold, remember Sally, the secretary? She offered a simple solution. She said, what we need to do is to create an internal website where we can upload all our reports in a chronological and systematic manner. And we can give usernames and passwords to all our clients, and they can download these reports anytime that they want, at their convenience. The chief economist said, brilliant idea, but we don't have the time, money, or the people to develop it. Did Sally back off? Nope. And that's where the magic happened. She said, I will design and develop the website for you. When I heard that, I fell off my chair. I said, my God, aren't you busy? Don't you have so many things to do? Why? Why did you do that? And she said, I believe in my company. My company chairman has made it very clear. We will only tell the truth, even if the clients do not like to listen to it. And my team has only been reporting the truth. And I've been so proud of them. And I want to support them in what they're doing. I was still surprised, and I said, but how did you do that? Then she let me on to her little secret. She's always been very curious about coding. So she has gone to the library and she started learning coding on her own. She's self-taught. And she was already dabbling with little her own websites. And she was so inspired to contribute her personal skill to help her team and her company. That's a oneness environment. So leaders, let's create that oneness environment where everybody is contributing their efforts to a shared, meaningful purpose, where the language changes from me to we, where everyone is helping each other to be better than who we are today. Which brings us to N, narrative. Remember the operation head in the F&B space? Now, the way she looked at people was, you have an attitude, I need to fix you. That's a narrative of the past. That's a controlling narrative. Let's change that narrative. Let us recognize that wisdom lies within each and every one of us. And our job as a leader is to hold that mirror in front of you to help you understand the powerful potential that lies within. There are few companies that are doing it in a real fun way. One company I know, what they've done is they've changed the 100-point system. Right? So instead of punishing the staff, if the staff drops their points, the leaders will have to step up and find out what is the real issue. And therefore, the leaders would need to help the staff to be better because they have recognized that everybody wants to do good. It's a question of how, as a leader, can I help you? Another company, they've got a real cool program called Catch Me Doing Right. So instead of looking out for people who are making mistakes, they're looking out for celebrating the right behaviors. And another company, instead of issuing warning letters, they issue improvement letters because they understand people do make mistakes. And every time someone makes a mistake, it's a learning moment. So let's change the narrative and let's create the oneness environment. And we'll not be able to do that unless we have E, empathy. If all of us here are driven by purposes and we all have faced challenges, then let's treat each other with empathy. I was having a conversation with the CEO of a consulting firm. Yeah, I was having coffee again. I got to stop this coffee habit. And we were talking about business challenges and also about how to look after the staff. He was sharing with me, in the past he noticed most of his staff were having trouble managing their personal finances. He had a deep desire to see that all his staff lived a dignified and comfortable life. So what did he do? Two things. One, he made sure that he paid all his staff a fair wage for the services that they were providing him. But most importantly, he asked all his staff, can you save 10% of your income and live on 90% of your salary? Because he really wanted to understand, hey, am I really paying you a fair wage? Or are you struggling with managing your finances? And what did he do? He even went on to set up a separate bank account to help all his staff. Now that's leading with empathy. As leaders, we not impactly impact the teams that we lead, we also impact the families. And how positively we impact people boils down to how we treat them. Are we treating them as a digit, as a head count, or are we treating them as a heart count? Today, it is even more important to treat people as a heart count, because we've got a cool, interesting cohort of people in the workforce, the millennials. I'm actually jealous of them because they've got a cool, sexy label, millennials. Straight away, I think of Star Wars and Star Trek and spaceships and Princess Leia, maybe, I can't remember. Because my generation, we were just defined by a letter, X. Hey, when I was going to school, X meant wrong. It's normally in red. Even the generation before me, they were described by what the parents were doing, baby boomers. I'm just an X. But these millennials, right, they bring into the workforce new ideas, energy, enthusiasm. In fact, I find that they are driven by a deeper sense of purpose than the people of my generation. I was speaking to an upcoming future leader, my 15-year-old nephew. He's a bit shorter now. He's too tall for me. He just turned 15 and took him out for his favorite meal, chicken rice. But he takes chicken rice without chili. What's the fun in that? So as being the uncle here, I was having a meal and I asked him, so what are you going to be doing after your O-levels? Are you going to go the junior college way or the polytechnic way? So as an all-knowing, intelligent teenager, he said, don't know. So as an all-knowing, intelligent adult, I said, oh, you got to study hard. You got to work hard. Keep your options open. Now, do you think he was listening to me? Nope. He was just feeding his face because I probably sounded like his nagging mother. I don't know. And then I asked him a question. If there's one issue that you're unhappy about, be it in Singapore or around the world, if there's one issue that you are unhappy about and you want to solve, what would that issue be? Now, he stopped eating and he started thinking real hard. And he said, racism. I want to stop racism. It's coming from a 15-year-old. And I threw him a second question. What do you think are the skills and knowledge that you would require to fight racism? I had to guide him along, but the flavor of the language changed. He started talking about philosophy, understanding human behaviors, perhaps even policy planning. And these answers were coming from him. The millennials are an exciting bunch. They're full of energies, they're full of ideas and inspiration. They understand AI, big data, and they're comfortable with most form of technology. They really get the open source community of sharing. They get collaboration. And then they come into this alternate universe called business corporations, where we try and stifle them and strangulate them with 100-year-old management tools and philosophies and kill their creativity. Technology has changed, processes have changed, management has not. Perhaps it's time to disrupt management. So let's throw out the controlling management techniques and let's be inspiring leaders. Leadership is not a title. It is a moral duty. We are in a position and power to influence people in a positive way. So let us embrace our moral duty and ennoble each and every one of our staff to be better than who they are today, because we are one. Let us create the oneness environment because we are one. Let us change our narratives because we are one. And let us exercise empathy with each and everyone that we meet because we are one. Who are we? One. We are one. Thank you.